and he gives them the lead.
Well, a spray hitter, ball out over the plate, hits it right down the third baseline. You can do that on AstroTurf, have a good chance of getting it by the third baseman. Howard Johnson way in because Venable can't bunt. Ball goes right by him for a double.
So now Pete Rose hitting .279. Struggled over the last week and tries to bunt his way on and bunts foul. 0-1.
A pretty good play, Al, because you know that Pete wants to get to that record as quickly as he can, but he wants to advance the runner with nobody out to third base. Also, with Parker coming up, having a great year, as you said. A little bit of teammanship there.
Rose isn't obsessed with that record. We hit that subject last Monday night. He knows he's going to break it. It's there. He's obsessed with winning and his team winning.
Inside, he needs 36 hits to tie Cobb and 37 to surpass it. There are the numbers. 41.91, the magic figure, and Pete at 41.55 on the 8th of July. Hit foul, and it's 1-2. Rose is platooning right now. He's playing against the righties, though he seems to get in just about every day. If a left-handed reliever comes in, he might not pinch hit, but if it's a right-handed reliever, oftentimes he'll insert himself late in the game.
6 previous meetings, the Mets have won 5, but all of them very tough, close games.
Rose trying to check his swing and making unintentional contact. Pete this season, Guerrero leading the league in on-base percentage, and then Tommy Herr.
But Rose right up there.
Then Jack Clark and Greg Nettles at the age of 40. So you got 2 guys in the top 5 in their 40s. And Rose hits it in the air to center field. Dykstra and Strawberry are both calling, and it's Dykstra making the catch. So 1 away.
I suggested to him that the Reds have shown a whole new spark since he took over. We discussed it.
Well, first of all, Howard, we got the attitude turned around. You know, you got to remember the Reds were one of the worst teams in baseball in '82 and '83 and the first part of '84. And when I came back August 17th last year, we had to turn the attitude around, not only the ball club, the front office, the city, everybody involved. And we think we're getting that turned around, and hopefully we'll put on a better show tonight than we did last Monday, because we really stunk up the place last Monday. We played just the opposite of the way we were playing before that game.
Well, he's already changed last week.
Thanks to Mr. Price. Last week, Tibbs struggled, gave up a lot of runs early.
And they ran into Hershiser.
Yes, that's another problem. On a major roadblock, as you would say. Major roadblock.
Notice that Hershiser got his comeuppance yesterday from the Cardinals.
Well, they are leading the National League in runs scored. Hit it on the ground and take off. Get on for Jack Clark and Tommy Herr.
1-2 the count.
It's Davy Johnson's theory that hitters like Herr and McGee will not stay up where they are, that they will inevitably come back to the field.
I think that's kind of, he's hopefully expressing that opinion, but if you look at their track records, is Herr going to hit 350 all year? He's never done it before, but never been healthy before either, at least, and he's never had McGee and Coleman in front of him.
Now that's a point.
In Baltimore over the weekend, they were talking about Alan Wiggins coming there. One of the things that they were writing about is that Tony Gwynn led the National League in batting last year.
That's lined on 1 hop and fielded by Chapman, who throws him out. Fumble as his feet left the AstroTurf, and he got out onto the dirt.
That's the unusual thing about this ballpark. A lot of the artificial turf, and you see backpedaling. Looks like he just kind of stumbles on the turf, and then right there you can see a lot of the turf parks have what they call some kind of composite, which is actually another man-made substance.
Let's see if Petey can spark his team by example.
Rose flied out grounded out. Rose checking signs, and of course you might think, well, doesn't he give the signs? But there's also a base runner involved, so everybody wants to make sure they're all in sync here.
That's exactly right.
And he does give the signs to George Sugar.
But that's Billy DeMars coaching at third, so it's a circuitous route that those signals take. 0-2 the count.
That's a name you don't often hear about. One of the unsung people of the business. Been around a lot of years. He's 60 years old, I believe, tomorrow. And an excellent batting coach.
Billy DeMars, who was with Rose in Philadelphia, and then Pete brought him over here, and that pitch just misses. Ball 1.
Well, there's a perfect example of the respect that Pete Rose gets from the umpire. Similar to what when I first came up in the big leagues. Mickey Mantle never struck out unless he swung. There's a ball, maybe a strike, but not on Pete Rose.
Specific on DeMars. He was standing with Bud Harrelson before the game. Bud had a career batting average of .235. But working with DeMars got him up into the 270s. And Bud, there's smart shot, the Reds owner. Bud was the glue of that '69 Miracle Ball Club, as you know, Jimbo.
Well, Billy DeMars started in the Oriole organization. He was over there as a minor league manager. Helped a lot of Orioles that along the way turned out to be good players.
That's a fair ball and into the corner with the runner going. So Milner racing around third. He'll score easily on a double by Rose, and the countdown goes on.
So he leads by example, and he's one hit closer to Ty Cobb's record.
And the chant of Pete, 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 Pete.
Ball hit exactly where Keith Hernandez had just left.
No wonder Maud Shot loves him. Just a little reaction.
So Rose now 36 from breaking the record, and he's given his team a 4-3 lead.
Well, maybe we should get Camp up here.
You never know.
After listening to that exposition, did you send a telegram of sympathy to Ralph Kiner?
No, but I was trying to call you. You're obviously having dinner with Healy that night. Emmy said, I called the house. Emmy said you weren't home yet.
That'll be the day.
Pete Rose hitting right-handed, fouling it away. 0-1.
And you mentioned that Rose does not hit very often right-handed. Much better hitter from the left side. I think if this is later in the game, we might see Tony Perez in this situation.
Or Camp.
Or Camp.
If some of you missed the post-mortem on that game, that was the 4th of July. There was a fireworks display. They actually shot them off as you look at the American League scores with the White Sox on top. Twins, Baltimore tied. Cleveland beating Texas. And Kansas City 5-2 in the 9th inning. 2-1 California in the 8th. Angels on top in the West. They actually went ahead, shot the fireworks off at 10 after 4 in Atlanta.
Woke some people up.
Yeah.
As I said, this can be a big night for Toronto. If they can beat Seattle. Which is no longer that easy.
Not when you consider most of their good young pitchers are on the disabled list.
Yeah.
They've had some other guys they've called up. Billy Swift, who I saw in the Olympic Games last year, has done a nice job.
Rose fouling it off to the right, and the count is no balls and 2 strikes.
Isn't Swift out of the University of Maine?
Of all the highly touted pitchers I saw at the Olympics, he was the most impressive because he had a wonderful sinker, knew how to pitch, threw a lot of grounders, a lot of 3 hoppers to shortstop.
Oh, boy.
1-2.
Well, we talked about the small strike zone. I guess if you get over 4,000 hits, you can judge for yourself. Tough to see from this angle, but sure looked like a pretty good pitch.
Reedus goes, pitches high, and the throw to second, not in time. Strangely, Reedus going, even though Rose contends that he could be as good as Vince Coleman someday.
Well, that's his 30th stolen base, and as Pete said last week in Los Angeles, he can steal a base just about any time, and you can see the confidence that Rose has in him. 3 runs down, lets him go.
I'm sorry, I don't buy it. That was close. He was in, no question about it. But 3 runs down.
Risky play. Slow ground ball to the right side on a check swing as he gets fooled, and the runner advances to third with Backman throwing out Rose. So Pete is 1 for 4 tonight, and now Parker. San Diego and the Cubs, that's what happened today at Wrigley. Dodgers win over the Bucks. Atlanta wins over Montreal. Cardinals lead 6-1 in the 8th. And the Phillies are on their way to a victory at the Dome after the 19-inning game last night. Montreal beat Houston 3-2.
It was nice to see Rick Thon have a real good game. Did you notice that? Home run, double.
Well, nice to see him have a month of good games. One of the fine players in the National League. Fortunately, Bean. Well, you were talking a little bit earlier about the pennant races. It really looks like they're going to be good pennant races in all 4 divisions. About 4 or 5 teams in almost every division that have a chance to win.
Yeah, nothing's over yet. Want to remind you your late local news to follow, and then Nightline coming your way as we are past the 11 o'clock Eastern mark with 2 out of the 9th inning.
I love that remark. Nothing's over yet. We're approaching. You realize the Reds of 70 was 70 and 30. 40 games above 500.
When was that?
1970. Pete says it was their best team ever. He brought it up because Detroit was 69 and 30. He said we had a better team than Detroit did last year, but Sparky had to keep saying this was his best team to build up as young players. He said, I got to do the same thing.
Now it's 2-2 on Rose, who questions that ball with a wry grin from Randy Marsh.
Says, don't you know who I am? They don't call those pitches.
Especially since Marsh grew up in Covington, Kentucky, which is across the river. Of course he knows who he is. And Pete hits it right back off of Roscoe, and Jesse throws him out. I guess his look says it all. Jesse Orozco. Hello. Ooh.
Interesting game in the respect that the Mets showed you some variety of weapons tonight.
Back after this.